Did Mr. Turner do something that he should not have done to go to prison on tax evasion because the government didn't like what he did? Can that happen to us in the living in the private? So I'm going to read you something. It's a fair question. First, Tim Turner re-inhabited the republic for the nation. So yes, he was a target. And that is just something you got to understand about him. Hold on, I'm looking for something. Forgive me. But I thought this was a great acknowledgement of what he went through. If I don't find it, that's okay. So Tim first and foremost was on the front stage of being the most looked after person by the federal government on the face of the earth at that time. They had brought him and three other guys on every news media outlet, and Fox News, CNN, everywhere was playing how these people who feel that they are have now written and basically we serve the governor's notice, and that's what you have to do when the people are upset. You have to give them your grievances. You can't just go in and overtake anything, which we did not attempt to do. Tim was one of those four guys that got 50 state assemblies together to serve the governors. It hit all the news media. So we held a phone call, 1,500 people strong, invited everybody from the FBI, the CIA, the Secret Service onto this call. And this gentleman that helped in the leadership operation of this did in fact explain it very well to everybody why we were able to do what we did. That was on like a Sunday night. All weekend long, Fox, CNN were all talking about this. Monday morning, it was completely stripped off of every media channel in the world, period. They've tried to do John Walsh has tried to do an interview with me. I said, absolutely. And I was going to be on one of his shows. And I said, just understand something. Every single word I say for 15 minutes must be played out if you want to have me interviewed for your thing. And I said, this is what I'm going to say. And I said it, and I told this lady, and I recorded it. And I said, you can use any or all of this, but excuse me, I said, you can't use any, you can only use all of this as a part of your recording. If you go live, you have to say every word I just said. She would not do it. They did not play it. And it's because I outlined for them the difference of the United States and what the federal government has been doing and why. And all we did was stand up for the people, and they went after Tim and attacked him. So they charged him for bond fraud and tax evasion. And this is how I learned jurisdiction. That's a great question. It's a fair question. But in his charge instrument, he beat the bond fraud charge, and they raided his attorney's offices. They took his stuff from him the day before trial. He was sick with 102-degree fever in trial live and had no chance of winning anything, but he did win most everything. And the only reason why they got him was because they got him to become a United States citizen the last minute before trial, before they came and indicted him. They said, we have a ton of money for you, but you got to go get this passport. He went out to Los Angeles Air Force Base, which is really a CIA building. And it got him to apply as a United States citizen for a passport because he was Cherokee and he didn't have anything but Cherokee ID. And so they had no jurisdiction over them. They got him to apply. That's how they sustained, or that's how they showed the court that he had said he was a U.S. citizen. They showed an E-Trade account as well. And that's what basically woke me up. All right. So if you're going to do things with a corporation, and I've always said this to y'all, if you're going to make money for your corporation, whether it's an LLC or your registered organization, file the taxes. If you're going to use those entities, file the returns, period. It's their entities, file the returns. Otherwise, if you use private entities, there is no jurisdiction over those private entities. This is 101 that they created for themselves in their big gains that they do to cover their tracks, to get their to get all their stock before they retire, donating it all to public foundations, and tax freeing all of that. That's what Bill Gates did. So if you're asking, did Tim do something that he shouldn't have done to go to prison? I think he operated I think he shouldn't have gone to the CIA building in LA and got a passport. I think he should have found a company like us back in that day to file for it as a state citizen so he could get a passport, and not granted jurisdiction, but he didn't know any better. And as a matter of fact, after talking to him last week, he still didn't know the difference of a state citizen and or a national. So what he had been reading in prison and different things about 8 USC 1101, 821, and 22, I had to update him on it and help him to understand. Look, we are free. We're children of God. And if we're going to play ball in their arena, you got to obey those rules. But if you're going to play ball in God's arena, you got to obey God's rules. It's that simple. If you want to grant them jurisdiction and have an LLC, go for it. If you want to be paid in your all caps name and not file a return, good luck with that. Or you just operate in the private. If you operate the way we tell you through the living in the private, you're going to determine for yourself there's no way that you can be touched. And that is a big difference. We just have people that are left alone. It's the ones that are one leg in, one leg out, operating like a sovereign citizen, driving on expired tags, hair super long, you know, I know it doesn't mean anything, but hello, attracting police, no plates, private plate, real big with a flag that is a civil union flag that does not exist in the law anywhere, makes you look like an idiot for putting it on your plates, makes you look like an idiot for putting it on your websites. Unfortunately, we've been tricked in all these things. We're saying we're nationals. We're not nationals. We're state of the union citizens. Okay, that's what the founders were. And so I get your question. It's fear-based. I remember that first time I filed my active state. And I went, what the heck did I just do? It was the most fearful moment in my life. And I have people that go through that here, and I have to man them up again. And it's just, I get it. It's fearful. Wouldn't you rather be out of their jurisdiction contractually than being in their jurisdiction contractually? Think about what I just said. You're saying I maybe would rather stay over there just because I'm fearful of what somebody did or didn't do. Go read the cases yourself, and the more you read indictments, the more you read, what they did to Tim was completely unfair. Having to defend himself without an attorney with 102-degree fever with no notes. Right. Does that sound fair? It sounds like what they do. They're bullies. They're thugs. They don't want anybody to be free. They had to take out the king. And they took him out. And he spent 12 years paying for something normally people get 1 year for. 12 years tax evasion. They get 1 to 3 years max tax evasion. It's not 12 years. They want you out producing. They want you to operate in fear. You think Tim's operating in fear today? No way. Still the same old guy, just smarter. Unfortunately, spent his life giving up his life and had to contract with him going into prison. And that's the hard ball that you have to face. But I would rather operate in honor before God, giving nothing to the whore. Nothing. Not a single penny, because she's demanding it. She's trying to be sexy over it. She's a whore. Give nothing to the whore. They're killing kids. They're promoting these ideologies to the youth. They're spraying, injecting their everything to everybody right now. You should be fearful for staying there because God's judgment will come. I know you don't maybe understand it based on your previous questions, but the entire word of God is coming to life right now. You should be prepared for revelations, specifically 13, 16 through 18. That's what you should be getting ready for, because it is in the law in effect coming forward. Revelations 13 is in the law today coming forward for the people. I would rather be out of jurisdiction, living like I should be, no debt, under God, raising my own food, whatever it takes, or buying enough to store in the vats for the people, doing whatever it takes during that season, that period of time where we have nothing. I want to store up for the people. I don't know how that looks exactly. I know there's a lot going on there in my head and everybody else's head of what to do, but it is what it is. I can stand before God and say, high five. I did it, man. Stayed out. And I'm trying to stay out on every element of taxation, every element of jurisdiction, every element. I don't want the whore to own anything that I believe that belongs to God. And so I'm very firm with that and very straightforward with everybody. So no matter what, yeah, Tim made mistakes, but his biggest attribute that I can say about him is that he was brave enough to stand up for you, and he did time for it. And he didn't do time for tax evasion, although that's what he was convicted over. He did time for you and for me. And his mistakes, listen to me very carefully. Tim Turner's mistakes are why I am here. Tim Turner's teachings are why I am here. He told me on a call the other day, Kelvin, do you remember you said you were going to prove me wrong? I said, no, I don't. It sounds like me though. I did. I told him I was going to prove him wrong after a seminar, I guess. I don't remember that. And I didn't. I started re-inhabiting the Republic with him, giving up my life to make millions as a registered broker, could make millions doing loans at 2%. Hey, you need a refi? Yeah, hold on. She's going to take your app. Just Jason, stop. She's going to take your app. I'll give you some rates shortly. We'll lock you in. We'll get you funded in 3 weeks. Tim, what's going on? Da, 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 da. I was doing that my whole adult life. It was very easy for me to fund out and make money, especially with the lowest interest rates. I chose to take his teachings, validate and verify them, learn a whole lot more from God while he was away. And it's because of him we have HISAdvocates. If I didn't meet him, HISAdvocates would not exist. And we'd be all operating in total and complete fear trying to figure this out. Instead, we don't have to. We just need to figure out how to say no, thank you, and push back a little harder. 2 cents.